Okay, so welcome to this session. I think this is one of the last sessions in this conference. 2 very hectic days behind us and very packed full of different, very well prepared presentations. So we have a very high level here. So our cases are coming from Helsinki and the Helsinki high schools. So Helsinki is one of the leading cities, want to be the most functional city in the world, and in this framework they are making this kind of studies to understand better the citizens in different roles in their life, and this is now regarding the youth and the school students when they are kind of moving towards the working life or then upper education. So we have 3 panelists or presentations. First, so Anna from Helsinki is giving the overall perspectives of the city, and then Jukka from the Association of Finnish E-Learning Center will then demonstrate about the study that we conducted, and finally Petri from Vastu will then tell about the study work balance and then what kind of ecosystem is needed in order to make it functional for this kind of youth when they are entering to the working life and this kind of lifelong learning paths in their lives. So please, Anna.
Thank you. Nice to be here today, even though it's Friday, but it's really inspiring. Great event here and really interesting panel discussions and presentations. I attended a couple of them during the last couple of days. So yeah, my name is Anna Rantapero-Laine and I work as a senior advisor in the field of EdTech and learning environments in the City of Helsinki and economic development department. So I'm not working in education. Actually, my unit is in innovations and new experiments. And I'm here to tell some kind of a little bit about the background regarding the study and also some of the initiatives that the City of Helsinki has at the moment related to this theme. So first of all, the City of Helsinki is actually one of the top innovation area in the EU, and we're really focusing and putting a lot of effort into boosting this type of innovation activities all around. The city is currently developing various incubators, hubs, and R&D and in research and development and investment projects. And so for a startup or even for a corporation, Helsinki is really the place to be at the moment. That there's a big buzz around Helsinki in many industries, and actually the EdTech scene is actually one of those at the moment. The City of Helsinki is supporting product development and new business opportunities, as well as strengthening the city's own innovation capabilities and cooperation possibilities with companies through various test beds. And when we're talking about test beds, the idea here is that we are opening up our services for companies and universities to co-create their products and services together with the end users. And one example of these test beds is our schools and EdTech and educational technologies. And I've been in charge of developing those test beds in the field of education in our K-12 schools for the past 3 years now. We have had great results. Dozens of companies have been co-creating their products and testing them together with teachers and students and pupils. And if you're interested in learning more, you can visit our newly opened website called testbed.helsinki. There's also an English language version there available. It's quite interesting. We have many different areas of industries that are available for companies to co-create. And then one example of one of our very recent kind of initiatives regarding innovations is the Helsinki Education Hub. And the idea here is that we will combine the innovators of EdTech companies with Finnish pedagogical competence and academic research. And it will be a virtual and a physical hub, which kind of promotes cooperation and learning and piloting of new technologies, and it will also serve as a showroom space for new innovations. And the idea here is that we will launch a systematic collaboration within the ecosystem in order to boost new innovations in the field. And it will be a kind of international hub from day one. So if you're interested in collaborating with us regarding this one, so please be in contact with me. I'm one of the 2 key persons in setting up this hub. We will actually start operating in spring or in summer. It depends on the procurements needed to launch this project, but it will be something that will definitely be interesting in the field of edtech and education. The idea here is that what are we actually kind of enabling is that we will increase the number of edtech services and products, and also combine pedagogical and academic know-how into these processes. And we will increase the collaboration between corporations and startups, because that's something that's really needed in this field. And shortly put, we want to accelerate new innovations and boost the kind of new technologies within the field of education, as that is somewhat of a conservative industry still. So we need to kind of boost this development further. In European Union, there's a clear need for investments in the field. What already was mentioned in the opening slide is that the strategic goal of the City of Helsinki is to be the most functional city in the world. And of course, in order to reach that goal, we also want to be the best city for taking advantage of digitalization. And what that means is that we have launched a digitalization program to accelerate the change. And of course, in order to have this type of digitalization, it requires a lot of data. And let's see this next slide. There are some of the kind of applications and services and solutions that we've already done regarding digitalizing municipal services. Here are some examples. For example, we have launched a booking service for citizens for public premises and equipment, so they can book public kind of premises for example, hobbies and free time activities. We've started with participatory budgeting, so around 5 million euros will be spent each year, actually every second year, to these kind of initiatives that the citizens have voted that there's the greatest need. We have great metropolitan library online services, public transportation apps, and so on. And some things that we are actually currently developing at the moment are health benefit assessment digital care tool, as well as City of Helsinki's online store, and also virtual Helsinki for tourists. And there are a lot of different other projects going on at the same time as well. One example of the fact that when we are digitalizing the city's kind of services or municipal services and public services is that it doesn't always need to be very, how to put this, high tech in the sense that, for example, when we are proactively offering preschool places for children and their parents, this is done fully by SMS. So this is really easy to use, and actually we started piloting this autumn, and the feedback was very positive regarding that. Yeah, and here you can actually see the message is pretty simple. Press yes or no. And when we're talking about digitalization, we are, of course, talking about MyData. And we want to be the leader in human-centric internet, of course. And Helsinki uses data with permission of citizens and for the benefit of citizens. And that's why we have we're actually in the middle of a procurement process related to a MyData operator. So we will choose a MyData operator for the city, and once the partner has been chosen, we will then start developing different services using this MyData principle. That's something that's really, really exciting, and our study is related to this development as well. So a couple of words about the study that we're actually talking today. The idea here is that Helsinki is at the moment renewing its data systems in many levels, for example, in education administration systems. And in addition, we're also planning a unified and modern technological base and platforms to combine residents and citizens' data from various systems. So as I'm actually working at the economic development sector in the city, I'm always thinking about kind of the business side of things. So I think there's great potential for new data-intensive business by making the public sector's data open using MyData principles. It's not, of course, that's straightforward, and there are many obstacles in the way still, but that doesn't kind of hinder us of preparing all these initiatives. So and of course when we're talking about building new business opportunities, we also want to of course generate innovative solutions for our residents and citizens, and of course for our service users. So we decided to scan the potential use cases of services operating on MyData principles among high school students. Why we chose high school students to be part of this study is that they are they are more independent in giving permission for attending different studies, and also in the future they are more free also to make decisions about using their own data as well. So they're kind of a easy target group in that sense. So what we wanted to find out in this study is that we wanted to find out actually three different type of things. So first of all, we wanted to see what kind of ideas for new solutions or challenges in their everyday life do the students have. So I guess it's quite difficult to imagine new solutions, but it's always easier to tell or to articulate that what kind of things are difficult and what can be improved. And then what kind of digital solutions utilizing MyData could solve these issues that they have told us. And then the third one is that what in a very concrete way, that why would the student permit the third party to use his or her data, and who could this third party be, and then what would be the added value for the student. And when we're talking about third party, it can be either a company, so a commercial organization, or a public organization. So for example, does the kind of data that the education administration systems have gathered from the student during the 3 years he or she has been studying in high school, in which would there be a way that data could also be shared with the universities when she or he is continuing with his or her studies? And these are the kind of the basics or the ideas that we had when we started conducting the study. And this study was conducted as a part of Smart Learning Environments for the Future project, which is funded by the European Union's Regional Development Fund. And we had great partners collaborating with us in this study, so Finnish e-learning center and Vastu Group. And now actually Jukka from e-learning center will now go through with the study in a more detailed manner. So thank you from my behalf on this part. I'll stop my sharing, so now Jukka can continue.
Thanks, Anna, and thanks for the possibility to be part of this project. And I'm going to tell you first about a little bit about Finnish e-learning center, and then I will tell you about the research results. And my name is Jukka Lehtoranta, and I'm working in the Finnish e-learning center, and I have background as a teacher and as a teacher trainer, but now I'm mostly focusing on learning analytics and this learner-centered approach for different kind of development projects. And Finnish e-learning center is national association, and our main goal is create networks for operations and for different kind of development projects. And we have large scale of different kind of services on the field of e-learning. And we wanna highlight the openness and possibilities to make different kind of shared projects. And there are some of our projects that we are currently doing. We have adaptable learning paths, which contains learning analytics, visualizations, multimodality, and so on. And then we have this annual quality competition, email for e-learning solutions and services. And then we are doing lots of research, as in this case, and teacher training. And we have our own magazine, and then we have lots of projects with different cities and different organizations and so on. But we try in every case to bring our networks in this and try to highlight this possibility for everyone to participate in these projects. But now I will tell you a little bit about this research that we made in this project. And we have two-paced research. And the first phase was a survey. We want to know what students think about MyData. We want to hear their opinions and know their things about it and how they manage to bring these things in the school. And we have almost 110 participants, and they come from 2 high schools, and they were in 4 different groups. And these groups were chosen by their teachers' interests. Their teachers say that they are voluntary for this, so that's why they are in this. And our students very lots use mobile phones and laptops in a school and in a learning context. 100% of these participants use them, and they all use Wilma, which is a very common student information system here in Finland. And through Wilma, you can share messages to teachers, and you can see your schedules, and you can see your test results, and so on. So it's a kind of overall system for this information. Then we have different kinds of learning environments that are other thing. But when we asked for these participants about different kind of services related to health or public transportation or online bank services, then the results were not 100%. For example, amount of online bank services users was about 70%. And I personally think that it could be more, but it wasn't. Then we asked about social media usage, and we find out that WhatsApp, YouTube, Instagram, Snapchat, almost everybody uses them. But then we have had lots of media coverage lately in TikTok, for example, but we find out that only 60% of these participants use TikTok or Jodel, which is kind of local communication application. But then we have some national services for students, for example, opintopolku.fi, which is a kind of national guidebook for education. And it is a place where you can find what you have to do if you want to go to the certain university or become for some certain professionalist and so on. And there you can see all the updated information and make applications and so on. And these are some key findings in this survey. And there you can see areas from this survey. We asked participants about basic informations. We asked services that they used, and I previously highlighted some of these services. And then we asked about advertising and profiling, and we find out that they know a lot about profiling advertisement. They have noticed a lot of things that are related to this area, and that was very positive note. And then we want to know their opinion about, do they want to develop these services? Do they want that their opinions are to be heard when they are using these services? And then we have some open questions. And we find out that our key finding was that these students were recognized the importance of MyData quite well. They know why it's important and they have think about it. And that was very positive sign. And also they want to know a lot about what data is collected, and they have this urge to control their data. And this almost 90% of participants say that. But then we have some questions that were in a Likert scale. One was totally disagree and 6 totally agree. And we asked, have they talked about data protection in schools? And our average wasn't that good. It was just below 3. So we think that this is one area where there is lots of things to have to do better in schools for future, that they at least talk about these things. And then we asked, do they know where their data is used and stored it? And average was 3. And then we asked about, do they think that they have possibility right now to participate in this development process? And they said no, basically. Average was just below 3. But then we arranged the second phase of this research. And second phase was about workshops. And then we gave their possibility to say their opinions and share their ideas about this process. And here you can see some interesting guidance from this research. And there is some critical approaches, but then there are already some ideas about these development processes. And they hope that they want to pace their learning with these applications. And they hope that they can easily see what data is collected from them when they use social media. And then they hope that they want to receive recommendations for applications about topics and subjects, and they want that there is some applications or service that can show, okay, now you have studied this, but next you have to study this topic, and there is a text that you can read and so on. In these workshops, we have 4 workshops, and they have via remote connect because of these COVID situations. And one workshop was 75 minutes, and we have totally 16 participants in these workshops. And the idea was ask about their ideas for these applications, for the uses of MyData. And we talk about what they want to have available in during school days, before school days, and after school days. They talk a lot about what is not so well arranged in right now, and then they get some ideas that how the things have to be arranged for their opinion. And we get lots of interesting ideas, and then we have lots of some clear development things. And we take one of the key findings was that these students were very interested about how their data is used and how to get better services about well-being and so on. And one of the ideas that almost everybody said in these workshops that they want to receive better information about their courses where they are participating and so on. So they said that they want one place where they can see course structure, aims, books that they maybe use and so on. And they also said that they want better ways to communicate between students and staff. They have already some ways, but they say that, okay, staff don't answer, or then it's not so easy to send message via some services and so on. And then we talked lots about how to connect their personal life better for schools. And one idea that come from this workshop was these timetables that you can share to your parents, employer, your coach, or somebody else, that they don't have to themselves to share that data, that they can click somewhere and then their timetable is going to their employers or somewhere else. And then they hope that they have some tools that can help they to arrange their learning tasks. For example, if teacher gave them some learning task that you have to do, then they hope that they have some tool that can put it in parts and say, okay, tomorrow you have a good time to start this task and so on. And then one important problem that they highlighted was about their personal data in this case. And they say that they have sometimes these routines in classroom that if they are going to leave the classroom early, then they have to share teacher the reason of leaving the classroom early. And then they have shared the information that in that way that other students can hear that. And they think that it's a personal data protection problem. Because if they are going to therapy or some to private place, then they think that, okay, we have to have other way that we can share that information to teacher, that we don't have to say it aloud in front of others. And then we talk a lot about course workloads and how to manage this if they have several courses in same time, and how can they manage that, how much pressure they get from these courses. And no, they don't have possibility to know that in advance, and they hope that they can get this possibility. And these are some key findings about this, and if you have some questions, you can ask them later, or I can check chat if there is something. But now I thank you and give Petri for opportunity to continue.
Thanks, Jukka. Share my screen. Davide, I added one thing into my presentation just for you.
Thank you, really appreciate it.
Yeah, so hi guys.
Petri, I think you need to change the presentation mode, so now
really? Oh.
Kind of it's wrong with you.
Swap displays on the third button.
Which one?
On the top third button on the left-hand side, just click swap displays.
Okay. Perfect.
Yeah, perfect.
Now it's perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thanks Anna, Mikko, and Jukka. My name is Petri Tuomela and I work as a network lead in Vastuu Group. And when people ask me what Vastuu Group does, I always tell them that it's an innovation and Digi hub for construction industry. And Vastuu Group is a limited company, but we are owned by the industry, so construction industry. So that's the background of Vastuu Group. And then I work as a network lead, but my project is called Digital Employment. So together with unions, so employer and employee, and then the Ministry of Employment and Economics, we led the project. We started 2018 and we just finished, and now we are starting the second phase of the project. And basically what we did in the digital employment project, we built a network of 500 people. So we have people like professionals from lifelong learning and digital employment. We have service providers, recruiters, HR personnel, people from all sectors. So Ministry of Education and Ministry of Labor and or Employment. So it's a wide range of professionals. And last year we organized over 20 events. So every second week something is happening. So the first goal for this project was to start this kind of like a networking and ecosystem work around one industry. So bring all the lifelong learning and employment professionals together and to collaborate and communicate. And then the second goal for our project was to make the first MyData, make the first recruitment process or job application project where the job applicants actually used MyData. So we also succeeded in that last year. So this is what we did. So we had we actually had 2 or 3 pilots where we had a group of real job seekers, and they were using MyData. And with MyData, they gave to different kind of job portals, employment agencies, and talent pool services consents to access their data, and access their data in private, public, and third sector registers. So in our pilot, it was your study records, your professional qualifications, your driving licenses, and also your hobbies. So what kind of trainings or courses you did during your hobbies. So these are the data that these job seekers gave the consent for these services to access them. So we did this, and during the project we also identified in a big picture that MyData actually supports it helps people to identify their skills, put their skills into words, and also lifelong career guidance. So the idea that maybe your high school is using some kind of system or service that is collecting data about you, about your goals, your dreams, where you're good at, what are your interests. And basically you can use that same data when you go to University of Applied Science, and you meet your career coach there. So you can provide that data to them. So of course, in that case, they can give you better service. And then in job seeking, career development, and also like in HR and recruiting, there's lots of like manual work for HR people or recruiters, because they need to manually check that some, that things in your CV is correct. But if it's validated data coming straight from different registers, then we can actually automate some of the manual processes that now takes lots of time and money, and they need to call to different services, customer services, and ask if they are correct or not. So with MyData, we can help that. And then when it comes to high schoolers, so like Jukka mentioned, we have identified like different kind of like life events where you can use MyData, whether it's like you're going to study counseling or then someone is helping you to identify your skills, or then you are looking for the summer job. So you need to fill up your application to different applicant tracking systems, and it's sometimes quite frustrating. And basically, with the help of MyData, you just give the access, so you don't have to fill all the information all over again into different places. But then, like this was like the big picture, like, and maybe like what also happens like after high school. But then MyData can actually help you in very simple, small, everyday life events. Like you go to restaurant, you can get a student discount, or you buy a bus ticket to go to your hobbies or to your high school. So with MyData, you can get the discounts. Or if you're booking time from the school nurse or study supervisor, or maybe when you're working, you're studying in high school, you could also share your study plan for your employer, so they know which work shifts to give you. So it can be really simple stuff as well, where MyData can help you. But even though if we talk about the small things or then the bigger things, so there's quite a lot of, there's really like complex challenges to solve. So this is what we learned like during the last 2 years. So there's lots of like integrations to be done. There's challenges in the legislation that we need to solve, find new kind of like business models around data, and build ecosystems, build trust, and also I think in our case, we are, as a Vastuu Group, we are investing quite a lot to MyData, but then it's not always clear like what kind of like business models actually there are, like, and when you think about the whole ecosystem, so what kind of business models there are for the whole ecosystem. So these are kind of like things that you learn while doing, and this kind of like, there needs to be like cooperation in several levels. And I think like MyData, what I also learned is that there's like lots of collaboration between like private, public organizations, and I found that really, really interesting and fruitful. And what else? Yeah, so lots of collaboration. So these are like the 5, like I don't know if I can say like dimensions, or like these are the 5 most important things in our own project. So we are really open, like whatever we are doing together with our network. So lots of like innovating together, lots of learning together, and also we are really open about the challenges in the legislation, and we want to really communicate this to everyone, so that we can solve it together. It's quite a tricky one. And then, like, we have divided that networking is more like building the trust, and then the ecosystem work is kind of like the next step from networking. And when we are talking about ecosystems, then we are actually doing integrations, or we are making MyData pilots or experiments. So this is kind of like the next level. And then also in our project, we are building a marketplace, which is bringing like the employment projects, employment services from the construction industry into one place. So through the marketplace, we can open business opportunities for the network. And then the fifth one is that we are working closely with public, private, and third sector organizations. Right now, we are working quite a lot with public organizations and making MyData pilots. So we just want to, we have a small group, 10, 15 people. Then we have done like MyData integrations, and then these people are kind of like giving access for different services to access their data in different data sources or registers. So like really small steps, but we really need to take these to kind of like make it happen and make all these great visions happen. So that's what we are doing, or we have done. And yeah, that's it. Thanks.
Thank you, Petri. So I think now we have the presentations done. So we have heard from Anna, Jukka, and Petri those presentations, and I think now it's the interactive part. So please, if you have any questions to Anna, Jukka, or Petri related to this story. So at least one question was about the publishing. So maybe Anna could respond. So about the English language, do we have these kind of studies available only in Finnish?
Well, we thought that we would only need the Finnish version, but if there's international interest, so then I think that we'll be able to translate the study as well. If there's interest in the study, then of course, yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, nice.
Thank you, Anna. So do we have any other questions from the audience at this stage? Maybe you can a little bit say about the difficulties, because I think this is very different methods that you have used to make this kind of questionnaires, because you make it remotely. So how it went?
First, we talked that it's going to affect a lot about results, but now I think that the effect for results was not so much. So I think that if we have done this in a face-to-face situation, these workshops and so on, then we have had some similar results. So I don't think it affects a lot. And I think that this situation helped a little bit, because these things was something that they all think now every day. For example, in Ather High School, there were half of the school were in the quarantine in that moment when we did these workshops and survey and so on. So they every day think that, okay, how this digital communication is going and how we get information from our studies and so on.
Thank you, Petri. So now we have a question about the timetable. So I think this goes for Anna. So basically the situation with the schools was not ideal, because of course the teachers were quite busy with all the other things. So please, Anna.
Yeah, about the study, I think it should be ready. Yeah, it's actually not finalized yet, so you have had a sneak peek of the results. But about if you're asking about the English version, I guess it should be. We can kind of translate the study in spring, so maybe in March or something like that. So when it's finalized, the Finnish version, then we can translate it, of course, as well. And we can share it, for example, in the testbed Helsinki site, and also I guess in Vastu Group's websites, as well as Finnish Learning Center's websites. So it will be available there for sure.
Thank you. So I think Jukka also, how did you find the collaboration with the schools? So was it easy to get this willing teachers to collaborate? So is it kind of very, do the teachers in Finland know this MyData?
I think that these teachers know that very well, and that was maybe the reason why they jumped in this case. I'm a little bit wrong person to answer that question because I wasn't a part in this project in the beginning, so I don't know how the process of choosing these teachers actually went. Maybe Anna knows more about it.
Yeah, I guess there's, I guess the kind of understanding of MyData really varies between different teachers. So in general, the kind of a proficiency of Finnish teachers regarding IT and digital equipment and digital solutions is generally speaking very good, and compared to, for example, other countries. But then again, MyData is something that is not necessarily kind of a widespread subject in a kind of in public. You seldom see, quite rarely see, for example, articles related to this theme in newspapers or so on. So I guess that some of the, I would say that that most teachers are not aware of MyData in a detailed level. They might have some idea, but I think this is really interesting, the fact that the Finnish e-learning center started with the kind of the study with kind of focusing on the MyData principle and explaining about that, and we've seen that there's probably a need for MyData learning materials that could be spread all over, not only in Helsinki but also in other cities and around Finland, and I guess around the globe as well. So there's not that much kind of easily great learning materials related to MyData and what it means, and how can we adopt the MyData principle and kind of go through the idea of MyData as a part of our kind of normal core curriculum and normal teaching and learning.
Thank you. So maybe also Petri question. So how do you feel about the collaboration over there? Because you usually make these workshops on like live events. So how it feels now when you do it, those networking and ecosystem work online? So, but of course the systems are developing maybe faster. But how is the human kind of contacts and that kind of process?
Yeah, I think it's much trickier when you cannot see the expressions. To be honest, like I really miss like meeting actually people, because like at least I think that you get so much more out of the work when you are meeting people in person. And then also like I think like when you're online, then there's like less like gossiping, like kind of like at least in the networks that I'm in. So it's always when you meet people and then you are working closely with the unions. So then you kind of like hear these things that, okay, what is happening somewhere and where I should be involved and this kind of. So this is maybe missing. So it's not so easy to stay up to date, like where should I be? So, or who should I be talking to? So this is different. So this is at least like how I feel. But I think like now during the autumn, like the events where I've been attending, I think there has been lots of improvement how to facilitate these kind of like online events and workshops, and there's like tools like Miro that we are using, which is like helping a lot. And actually, like some phases of the processes or these workshops is easier. Like usually you go to a workshop and then you're adding like post-it notes and then you leave them there. But actually now when everything is in Miro, you can see everything all the time. So, but yeah, I think this. Maybe I need to maybe I've been more on the phone, like asking like what's going on. So to kind of like stay updated.
Thank you. So we have a question about success stories. So do you have some success story that there is this kind of matching happening? So if you think about the situation, what we are trying to solve, this unemployment or job matching. So do you have any stories about this people that have find that dream job or something like that, that they are really benefiting?
Yeah, well,
MyData.
Like we have, like in our like homepage, we have like every material that we exist is shared to everyone. So we have identified like these kind of like use cases where MyData can be really helpful. Like what are the processes? What kind of which phases of the like job applicant or recruiting processes MyData is helping. So we have identified all these, but the challenge is that the pilots that we did, we just did these pilots with 10-20 people, and we basically had an agreement with these people that okay, they will share the information, but then that information is kind of like deleted. So we know that the process can be easier, and this will actually make like finding a job more easier and help the HR recruitment processes, and also help in the matching in different kind of like employment services. But I think that later we have the real results. Now it's been only pilots, but then in the next phase of our project, which is starting in February next year, then we are building this. The service will be online as well. So then actually, the service that we've been now conceptualizing, maybe that's the word. And we made the proto version, and with the proto version, we made the pilots. So now, maybe end of next year or then the spring 22, it will be out, and it will be offered for all the construction students and unemployment and employers in the construction industry. So that's the plan. Then I can tell you more results. But when it comes to the private registers and the data that exists there, the legislation doesn't really support to use that data at the moment. So we are doing lots of lobbying as well to kind of like make it possible.
Thank you, Petri. So maybe a question for Jukka and Anna now. So Sille mentioned about that the MyData Academy. So basically this kind of educational part is forming up, I think, next year. So what is your feelings about this kind of development, that this kind of academy, and would you support that?
Oh, absolutely. I wasn't aware of such academy, but I will definitely, I'm looking forward to learning more. And like I said, there's clearly a need to to kind of spread the message and incorporate the MyData principle and the concepts into our curriculum, so that it would be as just a regular part of everyday teaching and learning. So it would be great to learn more about that. So if somebody would be, I would be happy to receive some more information if there's some available already.
So I think Sille can take a note over that. So I think this is kind of a upcoming development, but I think Sille get a good feedback from. And then Jukka.
I agree what Anna said, and we have interesting momentum in Finland in high school, because we are going to get new curriculum, and then teachers have to have new ways to teach, and I hope that this MyData and MyData Academy is one of parts of this. And even in lower school levels, we are going to get new guidelines for teaching digital skills and so on. So I hope that MyData is going to there too.
Thank you. So I think we have 3 minutes left on our panel. Any final thoughts or any final questions that we would like to? Do you want to say something about the academy, maybe?
Sure, and hi everyone. So MyData Academy, of course, is still under development. Also, like the concept around it. What are the different pillars of this know-how about MyData? What should be provided in this academy and in which form and everything? But I think this has been throughout the different years. Been a strong urge that we need more understanding about what is MyData, and also in different levels of understanding and different ways of in different way communicated in different ways, so it's understandable with the different kind of background knowledge or background know-how about these issues. Taking even inspiration in some of the other ways of explaining blockchain to a 3-year-old, to a 15-year-old, to a 30-year-old, and to an 80-year-old. I don't know, something like that. But also, of course, thematically, so that, for example, we could provide even through this MyData Academy some sector-based workshops, some design workshops, all this kind of different things. So that's something to take up in 2021 again, and hopefully we can start providing that already then. And of course, one of the things that we've already learned throughout this conference as well is that there's no there's no one way to provide it. The collective thought leadership is coming together when everybody pitches in. So the design of this MyData Academy is, of course, also very participatory, and everybody interested in that are very welcome to join.
Thank you, Sille. So maybe final words from the speakers, and after that I think we close the official session. Of course, after that we can have a more free-form discussion. So maybe we start from Petri. Final words about the panel, how it went and how it's feeling now.
I thought it would be worse, but I couldn't sleep last night, so I'm sweating here like a lot now. I'm just joking. It went well. It was fun, actually. It's like, we were talking with people like before we even started, and then you can actually like really feel it that like around MyData Global it's like I don't know if the family is the correct word, but some kind of like there is like a strong connection between the people that are believing in the MyData Global and the whole MyData. So yeah, for me this was fun. So forget what I said.
Thank you. Thank you, Jukka.
I think that this was important workshop because of we have this project that we very much highlight the voice of students and their things and ideas about students. So I'm very proud of being part of this.
Thank you. Anna.
Yeah, thanks. It was great fun. I've been doing quite a lot of presentations lately regarding the testbed development and so on. So it's kind of gotten used to these online presentations already. But I guess regarding MyData, this has been a learning journey for me. I wasn't that familiar with all the kind of the things that go around with the MyData and MyData Global and so on. So I think that this we started this spring, so the half a year has been really interesting for me and from my side as well. So I've learned a lot, and this is something that is really truly some of the kind of I'm looking forward to see how we can manage and kind of and solve these, for example, legislation issues that we have around this. And I think it's something that would interest me as well. So maybe I'll be able to join that as well as the academy. I think is really interesting, and how can we incorporate all this knowledge into the kind of everyday teaching and learning in our schools. Thank you.
Thank you. So now we're closing up. So hopefully our audience liked our talk and get some insights or something to take away from this session, so that this was beneficial and inspiring. So thank you. Now I think we can now close the official part and then continue with those who want to still be online with little bit informal part.
Thank you. Very important case.